The NBA playoffs are this weekend, so I can finally stop leading every video with the NBA playoffs are around the corner. And the NBA playoffs is what we all watch the NBA for. The regular season is great and all, but the playoffs is where legacies are made. These terrific players don't play to put up numbers and whatever happens happens. These players enter the NBA playoffs with one goal in mind, an NBA championship. And whether or not you like it, the reality is playoff success does matter, and team success does matter when evaluating individual players. The goal of the game is to win, and the NBA championship is the highest you can get on that ladder in the basketball world. But there are a couple of players out there, a couple of stars in the NBA who have gotten passes from fans the past couple of years, whether it be through injuries, not having enough help, or inexperience. And the 2017 offseason provided almost everyone who needed help the help and the changes that they needed to give them another chance. And now it is their time to step up to the plate. Here are 5 stars whose legacies are on the line this season.
Please, Khaled, don't pair me or compare me. Unless the said party is a rare breed. The stories I hear, they tend to mirror me. At this point now, rap is only therapy.
James Harden. Let's start out with the obvious answer in James Harden. James Harden has had a phenomenal season worthy of the MVP. I would even say nearly unanimous. Check out my video on that as well. But he's had an MVP caliber season for 3 of the last 4 years, and it is a shame that he hasn't gotten to the finals yet. And I'm sorry, but it's not because of his supporting cast. His failures directly fall on his shoulders. And this goes all the way back to 2012 in the finals when the Thunder got beat in 5 largely due to James Harden only scoring 12 points a game on 38% shooting from the field. Then his first 2 years in Houston, he'd be bounced out in the first round shooting 40% against the Thunder and the Blazers. In 2015, if it wasn't for a miraculous comeback led by his role players, he would have lost in the second round to the Clippers, as in Game 6, Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, Corey Brewer, and Terrence Jones stepped up and covered up James Harden's 23 points on 25% shooting from the field. But in the round after, it would be one of the biggest chokes we've ever seen. Game 5, elimination game against the Warriors. This man puts up 14 points on 18% shooting from the field. I should really just stop there. His legacy's on the line just because of that. But then he follows it up with 12 turnovers. 12 turnovers and 18% from the field. In 2016, he actually wasn't that bad, for playoff Harden standards against the Warriors without Curry, and he still lost in 5. And last year against the Spurs, Game 6, this might be worse than Game 5 in 2015. In fact, I'm gonna say it is, because there is no reason this man, who was the runner-up for MVP, should only put up 10 points on 18% shooting from the field, 6 turnovers, and fouls out. That is embarrassing. And this year, he has the most stacked team he's ever had, winning 65 games. He has another top 20 player in the league in Chris Paul, one of the best coaches in the league in Mike D'Antoni, the 6th Man of the Year candidate in Eric Gordon, one of the best defenders in the league in Clint Capella, and the plethora of 3-and-D players around him. There's simply no excuse for James Harden to underperform this postseason, nonetheless choke like he has in the past. And if he chokes again, I'm sorry, but I don't care about those MVPs, how much better all around he is, but I can't put him above Iverson. I can't put him over Drexler. I can't put him over Wade, over George Gervin, and certainly not over Kobe Bryant, who some of y'all had the audacity to compare James Harden to a prime Kobe Bryant, which I found so disrespectful. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. I can't talk about DeRozan and Kyle Lowry separately because it seems that every single year they choke together. The success of the Toronto Raptors are definitely a result of DeMar's improvement every year and Kyle Lowry's emergence as a star point guard in this league and the coaching of Dwayne Casey. However, as much as DeMar and Lowry are maximizing this team's potential, they're also the same ones holding them back from going further in the playoffs. In 2014, not many were expecting them to be serious players in the East, and they proved everyone wrong, nearly winning 50 games and grabbing the 3rd seed. Definitely impressive for this team, and they overachieved for their expectations. However, in the first round, they were eliminated in 7 games to the Brooklyn Nets, and a large part of that was due to DeMar and Lowry shooting only 40% from the field, including Game 7 where they only lost by 1. And everybody gave them a break because it's their first year in the playoffs, so an experience. And then the year after, with home court advantage again and winning 49 games, you had Lowry only averaging 12 points, shooting a horrendous 32% from the field and 22% from 3, and DeRozan once again shooting 40% from the field and got swept by the Wizards. Mind you, again with home court advantage. 2016 they won even more games, getting the second seed, winning 56 games. And I'm not gonna lie, they performed pretty well, except for game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals, when the series was tied 2-2, and Lowry only scored 13 points on 42% shooting, and DeMar had 14 points on 25% shooting. Come on now. 2017, Lowry did only play 2 games against the Cavs, but come on. And you know, DeMar shot decent from the field, but if you watch the series, the fact that they allowed LeBron to literally toy with them and sweep them it's embarrassing. And with the new system in place, the first seed for the whole playoffs, no injuries going into the playoffs, the Cavs at their weakest, the deepest team that they've had, the Celtics with all their injuries. I'm sorry, but if they choke again, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Kevin Durant, man, Kevin Durant. Many view him as the second best player on the planet and the guy closest to LeBron James. And it's not like it's unjustifiable. You're looking at arguably the most complete offensive player of all time, the reigning Finals MVP and champion, one of the most versatile defenders in the league. But like I said in the beginning, winning has to matter. You can put up all the numbers you want, but if your team is barely winning games in the process, and the Warriors, even without Steph, are the most talented team in the league yet are struggling to win games, it is definitely a problem. Kevin Durant has probably gotten so many passes in his career, and it is crazy. Him and Russell Westbrook. As much hate Westbrook gets for not making the best of his time with Kevin Durant and choking the last time they were together, let's not act like Kevin Durant was an angel in all of this. He choked too in 2016. He couldn't make it work with Russ too, and spent the first 9 years of his career with one of the most talented players in the league, and only made the finals once to get beat by LeBron and the Heat in 5. We were talking about how Russ was holding him back. Imagine if he had a system around him. He has it right now, even without Stephen Curry. The fact of the matter is, Kevin Durant will walk into the playoffs with one of the best two-way players in the league and one of the greatest shooters of all time in Klay Thompson, the reigning defensive player of the year and one of the most versatile players in the league in Draymond Green, a proven coach in Steve Kerr, and a supporting cast that has already built up 3 to 4 years of championship experience. Kevin Durant supposedly went to Golden State because of the fit, right? Not just that they were the best team in the league and won 73 games the season before, right? Well, look, KD, the ball is in your court. I can't say he's the second best player in the world, and I'm definitely not putting him in the class of LeBron James. When Stephen Curry won a championship without him, led him to more finals than he ever had in his first 9 years in the league, and is showing his true value as we speak. Russell Westbrook. I know many of you definitely saw this coming from me, and rightfully so. But before I get into him, pause. I just want to congratulate him for averaging another triple-double for a whole season. And I'm being serious. This is a feat that hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson in the 60s, and has now been done not only once, but twice, consecutively by the same man. Trust me, I get everyone's problem with it, but it is still amazing, man. However, if greatness was solely based on putting up numbers, Wilt should be the clear greatest player of all time, and Russell Westbrook should be already a top 20 player of all time. The problem that many people have is that although these triple doubles are amazing to look at on the stat sheet, they don't lead to wins. If you've ever taken any statistics class or a psychology class, you would have learned that correlation does not equal to causation. Just because the Thunder have a great winning percentage when Russell Westbrook has a triple-double does not mean the wins are caused by the triple-double. There is no way you can tell me that with the score tied 98 with 2 minutes left in the game, that Russell Westbrook going from having 9 rebounds to having 10 will definitely increase their chances of winning that game. And if we want to look at the bigger picture, how come in a season where Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double again, where he has a better supporting cast than last year that was constructed for his needs this time, have they only won one more game more from last year with more help? Now, I'm not pointing all the blame on Russell Westbrook, as Billy Donovan he's just not a good coach, okay? Carmelo has the most ego in the league, and Roberson has been injured, and Paul George has been really inconsistent as of late. But what I'm not going to do is just act like Russell Westbrook isn't the culprit just because he's putting up crazy numbers. And that is a part of Westbrook's legacy that is on the line this year. This is a man that in his 10 years in the league, being one of the most talented players we've ever seen, play with Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Steven Adams, Reggie Jackson, Kevin Martin, Victor Oladipo, Carmelo Anthony, and Paul George. Nearly all of those players have had their best seasons when they were not playing with Russell Westbrook. He's had multiple seasons on 55-win teams in the West and being favorites to come out of it in multiple occasions. Do you know how many players would kill to have that much help in their first 10 years in the league? There is no reason for this guy, being as talented as he is, being as gifted as he is, getting this much help, and he's only made it to the finals once. And I get that he's faced great teams along the way, but it wasn't like those weren't winnable series. And last offseason, Sam Presti supposedly stole Paul George and Carmelo Anthony and added pieces to the team that Westbrook would need to succeed. And here we are entering the playoffs with the Thunder only winning one more game compared to last year. Many said this team was built for the playoffs, that they needed time to gel, that they match up well with any team in the West. Look, it is now the playoffs. They have had 82 games to gel, and now they're facing these teams that they match up well against. If this team loses to the Utah Jazz with their best player being arguably a rookie, or get embarrassed in the second round by Houston with Russ having this amount of help, the fact that he can't take them over the hump, I don't want to ever hear this man being compared to Stephen Curry. And I would definitely stop disrespecting the likes of Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, and Kyrie Irving like they're miles behind Westbrook when they've shown that they can do just as much, if not more, when given talent around them, just because Russell Westbrook puts up better numbers. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. This was a pretty long one. I did not expect it to be this long, but man, there's a lot of legacies on the line, and these legacies aren't just on, the last 5 years. This is a culmination of, 6, 9, 10 years in the league. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace.